Hello. Oh my god. I know I said I was streaming later 9 p.m. in our time. Uh, but like it's like a while ago I was reading a manga and I wait, hold on. And I just I just I just kept crying because of the manga. That's why I want to get this over with so I can cry in peace because I'm worried that if I continue on crying, then oh my god, I'm actually about to end. Yeah, if I continue crying, I was worried that I won't be able to um I won't be able to read um fine. Huh? What was I? Whatever that is. But yeah, but now that I checked, I'm actually about to end. So I'll just leave the stream open and um buy time, and later on I'll discuss what we'll do. I'll talk about um how this stream will go and all those things. But yeah, I'm actually reading The Promised Neverland right now. They said season 2 was not it, so I decided I'll read the manga right where the season 1 ended. And oh god, this is such a journey, guys. This is such a journey. I'm I'm at the second to the last chapter. So yeah, I think I'll just finish this, and then if I cry, then I cry. I think this is chapter 181.4, and The Promised Neverland ends at chapter 181.5. So yeah, I think I'll be silent for now, and then later on we'll proceed with the reading. Right now I'm gonna read silently, guys. Let me let me savor this up. I'll make the BGM louder while I silently read. You guys. Oh my god. I'm at the last chapter. But sorry. May gagawin ako ha. Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys hear that? I'm so sorry. Ooh, but yeah, because of that, I will now start. Okay, so before we begin, just like the first reading stream, this is going to be a short one. And this time is for me to talk about how the stream will go. The first is there are four stories. Well, actually, the number of the stories depends, but I've prepared four stories and all are completely unrelated to each other. And the reason why it's like that, I already said it on Twitter, but I'll say it again here. I won't be able to continue the story Dumpling because when I checked, I now have to pay just to read the rest of it. That's why I decided to just read those that I can. Moving on, the first three are pre-recorded and the last one is not. Well, if that is, I will be able to read the last one. But the first story is short. But yeah, reason being why the first three are pre-recorded is because I need a long time of rest after continuously reading a story, since I'm not really used to it, and that's why I'm doing this so that I can get used to it. And so to save time, I decided to pre-record majority of the stream. However, there are still mistakes even if it's pre-recorded, because I just pre-recorded it so that I will have ample time to rest my voice and whatever. Second, every after story, I will put on the be right back screen for a minute or so, then proceed to the new story. This is so that stories won't get jumbled up. And lastly, just like last time, I won't be able to chat with you guys. After the last story, I will immediately put on the ending screen. Hi Christian, welcome to the stream. I'm actually just about to start my reading stream and I'm just telling you guys how the stream will go. And so before starting, I want to tell you now that I'm thankful that you decided to tune in to this stream and I hope you enjoy. So I'll keep I'll keep the BGM, and without further ado, oh yeah, I also won't be able to interact much because this is a reading stream. And yeah, let's start with a poem. Candy King. In England lived a boy so vile. At breakfast he'd devour a pile of the most boldly flavored sweets and sticky, gooey chocolate treats. Cola cubes and jelly snakes, 15 giant birthday cakes, flying saucers, sherbet dips, bubble gum, and cherry lips. With breakfast down, you think that he had eaten quite enough to be all set to switch to healthy fare. There's food that isn't junk out there. Alas, just sweeties would suffice. To him, these treats were paradise. I am absolutely fine and dandy, eating this delightful candy, he cried aloud as he shoved in 400 biscuits from the tin. The biscuits were his pre-lunch snack before he launched a full attack upon his favorite dark lagoon of melted chocolate with a spoon. You'd think by now he had enough of all this sweet and sticky stuff. But then you'd hear the shouts of, "Mom, I need a tub of a chewing gum." He'd chew and chomp and munch and gnaw until he could not move his jaw, then swamp the gum for 7 cases filled with bright red cherry laces. Before he went to bed, he'd glug 6 points of soda from a jug, then quickly rush back down the stairs and wolf a tub of gummy bears. Some people even said his dreams were filled with chocolate raspberry creams, and as he slept, he stuffed his chops with sugar-coated lemon drops. But then one day the little boy, while playing with his favorite toy, screamed out, "Oh, Mommy, have you seen? My hair has turned the brightest green." His mom looked over, terrified. "Your skin's turning purple too," she cried, with quite disgusting yellow spots and little orange polka dots. "Oh no," he said. "What shall we do?" "I'm taking you to Dr. Sue." "I'm sure," said Mom, "that she will know. Put your shoes on, quick, let's go." His mother rushed him to the doc, who looked at him with utter shock. "In all my days, I've never seen a boy look like a jelly bean." "Dear boy," she said, "I have a cure. But you must promise me that you're prepared to change your habits now. You'll eat your veggies, you must vow." He said, "I will be good as gold until I turn 18 years old." "Right, that's good enough," she said. The boy now faced down on the bed. "Okay, hold still. Then while I pump this medicine into your rump." The antidote then filled his veins, and through the awful groans and pains he shouted out, "I'll never eat another blooming nasty sweet." He tried a turnip, crunched a carrot. "My," he said, "these veg have merit. Grapes and plums are plenty sweet, and beets," he thought, "cannot be beat." And sure enough, from that point on, his sweetie eating days were gone. The end. The Emperor's New Clothes. Once there was an emperor who just loved new clothes. He spent all his money on them. He would stand in front of the mirror, looking at himself in his newest shirt or trousers. One day, Two crafty men who called themselves weavers came to town. They said that they could make clothes with the most beautiful colors that anyone has ever seen. But the clothes made from this wonderful cloth would be invisible to silly people. Oh, I must check this out, thought the emperor. If I had clothes made out of this such amazing cloth, I could find out who is clever and who is silly. He gave a lot of gold coins to the weavers so they could start their work. The two pretend weavers set up their two pretend sewing machines, reached out into their pretend carry cases, took out their pretend golden thread, and began their pretend weaving. And let me tell you, this act fooled everyone. I wonder how the weavers are getting on with that cloth, thought the emperor one day. Then he remembered that silly people wouldn't be able to see the cloth. I know, thought the emperor. I'll send my trusty old wise man to the weavers. No one would call him silly. So the old wise man went off where the crafty weavers were pretending to work. The old wise man looked, but there was not one single bit of beautiful cloth to be seen. But he didn't say anything. One of the crafty weavers asked him what he thought about the lovely colors and the rich gold thread. If I can see this special cloth, I suppose I must be silly. Better not tell the emperor, thought the old wise man. Well, what do you think? Asked one of the weavers. Said the wise man. This pattern and the colors are the most beautiful I've ever seen. The emperor will be very happy. The day came when the emperor wanted to see the famous cloth for himself. He took officers of the court and the wise old man with him. As soon as the weavers saw the emperor coming, they went on pretending to work very fast. One of them stopped and said, "What does your emperorship think about the wonderful design and the beautiful colors?" The emperor said to himself, "I can see a blooming thing, but I can't let anyone know or everyone will think I'm a silly old emperor. Oh dear, oh dear." He turned to the sneaky weaver and said, "Oh, the cloth is the most beautiful I have ever seen." Of course, everyone who had come along with the emperor was straining their eyes to see something that wasn't really there. But they all said, "Oh, how beautiful!" The old wise man said, "Your excellent emperorship, wouldn't it be double extra fantastic if you had some beautiful new clothes made from this fantabulous cloth for the parade next week?" The emperor was so happy that he gave the sneaky weavers an extra bag of gold coins each. The night before the parade, the sneaky weavers sat up all night pretending to make a suit for the emperor. They cut the air with their scissors and sewed with needles that didn't have any thread in them. Finally, they cried, "The emperor's new clothes are ready!" The weavers lifted their arms pretending to hold something up. "Here's your majesty's trousers, jacket, and tie," said one. "The whole suit is so light, it's like wearing a cobweb, your emperorship," said the other. The weavers pretended to dress the emperor in his new suit. "Amazing!" cried everyone, although no one could actually see any clothes. The emperor looked at his plump, bare body in the mirror, took a deep breath, and said, "Well then, let the parade begin." The emperor walked through the street of the town. The people all called out, "What wonderful new clothes!" You see, nobody wanted to seem silly, but one little girl in the crowd said, "Mommy, look, the emperor hasn't got any clothes on." What she said was whispered all around the crowd. "The little girl is right. The emperor has no clothes," cried everyone. The emperor looked down and saw that he was indeed just wearing his underpants, and he realized that he must look very silly indeed. "We've all been tricked!" he shouted. Just then, the old wise man saw the sneaky weavers trying to run away. But, two soldiers grabbed them, took back the emperor's gold coins, and put the weavers in prison for a very, very long time. And the emperor? Well, let's just say he never, ever went to another parade wearing just his underpants. The end. Okay, before we proceed, I just wanna say it again, but just in case someone didn't hear it the first time, but the first three stories are pre-recorded and the last one was the second story. So the next one will still be pre-recorded. And I don't know if I'll be able to finish the fourth story. But yeah, and after the last story, I will go straight to the ending screen. Thank you. Go Nuts, Episode 1, Operation Willy Wow. Clink clink. 7-year-old Win Partridge jingled a pair of 1-pound coins in his hand. With the other hand, he pushed back his thick red hair out of his eyes. Then, he turned the page in his well-read copy of Animals Are Amazing. Win loved learning about the world outside his bedroom. However, though it was a lovely September afternoon, Win had no plans to go outside. That's because every day when Win comes home from school, he's completely alone for 90 minutes. His dad doesn't return from work until 5:30. Each morning at breakfast, Dad says the exact same thing. The 2 pounds are only for an emergency. Until I get home, stay in one place. Read your book. Don't climb on anything. Don't touch anything sharp. And don't touch the stove. Alright, Winner? Good lad. So instead of going outside, Win sat in his new bedroom, in his new home. He liked that old, crackened wooden floorboards, and he liked his view of the small back garden. That's where an enormous oak tree spreads its branches. The light coming through the window in the afternoon was perfect for reading. Win flipped his 2 emergency coins as he read his book, and accidentally dropped one on the floor. Tink! The coin rolled on its edge until it fell down a knothole in an old floorboard. Tonk! Win could see the coin in the hole but couldn't quite reach it with his finger. Then, he noticed the floorboard was loose. He pulled it up to grab the coin and found a small box. It was a very old and made of tinted silver. He put the coin back in his pocket and opened the old box. Inside it was a metal locket the size and shape of an acorn. He opened the locket to see if anything was inside. Squeak! The locket was empty, but it seemed special.
So Win threaded a shoelace through the loop at the top of the locket. He modeled his new necklace in front of the mirror. "Not bad," said Win. "It suits you," said a voice that was Win's. Win Partridge froze. Who said that?" "I did," said the voice, "and I've waited for a long time for the next child to find me. Are you ready?" "Ready for what?" Win asked. He wasn't sure if he was ready for anything. The kind but stern voice sounded like it belonged to an old woman. And there was no old woman in Win's bedroom as far as he could tell. The voice sounded like it was right next to his ear, but it also sounded like it was coming from the back garden. Win went to the window and looked. So are you coming or not?" demanded the voice. Win couldn't see anyone in the garden, so he cautiously stepped outside to get a closer look. "Come on, come. We don't have a lot of time," said the voice. Win could hardly believe it. The oak tree was talking to him. Don't act surprised," said the tree. "I talk to anyone wearing the locket, as I've been doing for 300 years. 300? Wondered Win in amazement. "Yes, I was happy to see that you and your dad moved into this place. It's been quite some time since we've had a new agent in the Order of the Oak." "Me? An agent? In the Order of the Oak?" Win had a lot of questions. But before he could ask any more, ouch! An acorn fell off a high twig and bounced on Win's head. "That acorn contains your power for the day," said the tree. "Power?" asked Win, picking up the acorn. "You're smart enough to figure out what to do next," said the tree. The acorn sparkled with a pale green light. Win opened his locket and placed the sparkling acorn inside it. Then he closed the locket, and it gently vibrated against his chest. "Very good," said the tree. "Remember, once the power starts, its time is limited, so don't dilly-dally on your mission." "What's my mission?" "You'll see. Now step inside and move quickly," commanded the tree. Win went around the trunk until he found the cup just large enough for him to squeeze through. He now found himself in a small, hollow chamber inside the tree. A tree's voice echoed around him. "Trees knows the weather, and there's going to be a willy wow in 10 minutes. "A willy wow?" "Don't let anyone see you," continued the tree. "Trust your instincts, and if you ever need directions, ask a squirrel." Before Win could wonder how to ask a squirrel anything, the chamber went dark. He lost his balance and fell through the gap in the trunk. But he came out from a different tree, in a different place. He was now on the grounds of the Queen's home. "Buckingham Palace," Win said in awe. Looking through a hedge, Win could see the Queen seated nearby, at a small table in her patio. A large safe was wheeled out to her. A man in suit pulled a briefcase out of it. From the briefcase, he pulled out a folder. "These are top secret documents, Your Majesty," Win could hear the gentleman explain to the Queen. "These 5 pages are the only copy that exists." Suddenly, An enormous gust of wind, as strong as a hurricane, nearly swept Wind off of his feet. He held onto the hedge for dear life and died as quickly as it had arrived. That's a really wow. Now I remember from my book about weather. It's a sudden gust of wind that appears out of nowhere. During the gust, neither the gentleman nor the queen had time to grab the pages of the top secret document. They all got swept away by the wind. Had only a moment to watch the queen, and the gentleman paced back and forth in distress because he felt something pop through the back of his shirt. Drip, whoosh! He turned his head and saw four huge blue wings sprouting out of his back. The sunlight, they looked as beautiful as stained glass windows. Win had read enough books about insects to know what they were. The magic acorn must have given me this for my mission. My power is dragonfly wings. They are the best sort of wings for what I know. For what I now know I have to do. Sploop, pop. Win's glasses fell to the ground as his eyes instantly turned into two massive multicolored orbs. He now had bug eyes. My mission, Win thought as he pocketed his glass, is to rescue those papers for the queen. Win zipped into the air. Dragonflies can fly backwards. They can zigzag. They can hover in mid-air. They can even do loop-the-loops, thought Win as he buzzed over a church and grabbed one of the pages mid-air. Crunch! This is amazing! Win marveled. Directly behind him, Win saw a page flapping in the air. He reversed direction and nabbed it with ease. With these new eyes, I can see all the way behind me. No wonder dragonflies can catch mosquitoes so easily. Win drove towards the Thames River to grab a page fluttering towards the water. A duck was all plump. Win landed on top of the glass pod and grabbed the sheet of paper. The people inside the pod looked up, gasped, and pointed at him. Win had to think fast. Don't mind me, Win said. He began wiping the glass with the paper. I'm just a cleaning guy. Win pretended to clean the glass until the big wheel lowered enough for him to safely jump to the ground, with all 5 sheets of paper in his grip. Phew! But with my wings getting smaller, how am I supposed to get these pages back to the queen? Win ran for a few minutes, hoping to gain enough speed to take flight again, but by now, his wings were gone. He bent over to catch his breath, looked up again, and saw that he was in front of a post office. Aha! With the 2 coins in his pocket, he purchased an envelope and a stamp. Then, he posted the pages to Buckingham Palace. But now I have no money. How do I get home before my dad does? Win said out loud to himself. It's too far to walk. At that moment, a squirrel tugged at his trouser leg. It was pointing toward a nearby park when another squirrel was pointing deeper into the park. Win followed the squirrel's direction until he found a tree with a gap in its trunk, large enough for him to squeeze through. Whoosh! He was back inside the oak tree in his own garden again, with just a minute to spare before his dad came home. I heard you were successful in rescuing the queen's documents, said the tree. Well done. So, what did you think of your first mission? Win only needed a moment to come up with his answer. That was nuts!
Hello? Oh my god, Panda. I'll go hang out with your phone in the meantime. Oh, it's still unstable. It still says it's unstable. You're back. Yeah, I am. I had to restart the internet. I had to plug it out and replug it in. And my internet is still unstable. Mayu Ray. Gosh, my bitrate. It's so bad. I'm sorry. The last story was cut short. And that was the longest one. Oh gosh. Do I. Is my audio alright, by the way? What are you doing with my name? Why do you keep spamming my name? Is my audio good? Is it alright? Okay, thank you. Oh, God. So, yeah. Instead of restarting the last story, I think I'm having those moments. What moments? Yeah, like I said, I'm someone who is gonna use the computer, and they they just have something they have to do, so I need to finish fast. But I'll go check first where I am not lucid and going. Hello, no. Why is my internet like this right now? Why? Hello, am I back? It was alright a while ago. Oh gosh, why cause me this suffering? We back? Oh, okay. I hope it doesn't disconnect again. Anyway, last story. A Gulliver's Travel Story. Gulliver's Travels. Once upon a time, there was a young man called Lemuel Gulliver. He loved adventures and wanted to see the world. One day, he set off across the sea on a big sailing ship. But soon, the weather got very bad. It was very stormy and the waves were huge. Suddenly, the ship started to sink. Gulliver jumped in the sea. He swam as hard as he could. Before long, he was washed up on a sandy beach. He was so tired and he fell fast asleep. When he woke up, he didn't know where he was. He couldn't move his hand. Then he tried to move his head and his legs. But he couldn't. He couldn't move at all. He wondered if he was dreaming. Then he felt something move on his leg. What was it? A little animal? Like a mouse? Gulliver opened his eyes, and there, standing on his chest, was a tiny person. Can you imagine how surprised he was? The tiny person looked cross. He had a tiny bow and arrow. Then Gulliver saw there were lots more tiny people. They were climbing about on his arms and legs and chest. They all had bows and arrows. Gulliver
was so surprised that he shouted very loudly. Then he heard lots of tiny cries. His shouts had made some of the little people fall to the ground. He looked down and saw that he was tied up with lots and lots of tiny ropes. He pulled his arm up and it came free. Then he did the same with his legs. Gulliver sat up. Then all the tiny people cried out. To them, Gulliver looked like the giant. Gulliver was really hungry. He smiled and pointed to his mouth. An important looking tiny man in fine clothes walked up. He was the emperor of the tiny people. The emperor smiled at Gulliver. He told the tiny people to drop their bows and arrows. Then he spoke to some of them and pointed. Now they are going to get some food for me, thought Gulliver. I think I'm going to like it here. Soon, the tiny people brought lots and lots of tiny sandwiches, tiny salads, and tiny vegetables, and tiny cakes and sweets. After he had eaten all the lovely food, Gulliver felt so much better. Then, the tiny people made a place where Gulliver could sleep. Gulliver found out that the name of the island was Lilliput. The people were called Lilliputians. He showed the Lilliputians his watch. They couldn't believe the noise it made. He showed them some coins from his pocket. Each coin was the same size as one of the tiny people. The Lilliputians liked Gulliver very much, and they kept bringing him lots of delicious tiny food. Gulliver was very happy. He liked the Lilliputians a lot, but he was ready for a new adventure. The emperor understood. You are a man who loves adventures, Gulliver, he said. But how can I leave? Gulliver asked. I'm too big for your little ships, and I can swim all the way home. The emperor told all the Lilliputians, Right, we are going to build the biggest boat ever built on Lilliput, he cried. The tiny people worked hard. They cut down their biggest trees and began to build a huge boat for their huge friend. Gulliver helped too. He carried the heaviest pieces of wood and put them together to make the boat. The emperor gave Gulliver some tiny coins and a picture of Gulliver in Lilliput with his friends. Thank you, said Gulliver, for everything. Gulliver was sad to leave. His boat was wonderful, but it was still very small for him. I won't get all the way back home in this, he thought. Gulliver walked into the water. He pulled the boat behind him. Then he climbed on top and began the journey home. Gulliver sailed across the sea for days and days. Then he saw a huge ship. At last, he cried, I'm going home. The ship's crew heard him and they helped him get onto their ship. He told the crew his story. The crew could hardly believe their ears. Tiny people, they said. Never heard of such a thing. How can this be true? It is true, cried Gulliver. Look! He showed them the tiny coins and the picture of him in Lilliput with his tiny friends. Maybe this story is true, they said. When Gulliver got home, he told his story to everyone. Some people believed him and a lot didn't. But Gulliver didn't mind as he knew what had really happened back on the island of Lilliput. It wasn't long before he set sail and went off to another amazing adventure. The end. Oh my gosh! Just when I ended and I checked, this stream is on excellent now. Oh, I'm really sorry you couldn't
I'm really sorry that the third story was cut off short. But yeah, like it's not pinned anymore. But thank you for tuning in. That will be all. I'm so sorry for the scoff today. I didn't expect my internet to die down like that. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. That will be all. Hope you enjoyed. See you next week.